what I want to do is I want to continue to build my set with some additional tools that we're going to learn in order to now start to work with our set and to complete it for our final project. So what you'll see here is that I have A0 open, okay, and that's my cover sheet. And if I go into model space, I don't have any drawing in there, so that's what yours should look like. If I switch back to my layout tab, you'll see that I do have my viewport here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually delete that, because technically I don't need a viewport since there's no reason that I should be accessing model space. So it's perfectly fine for you to be able to delete the viewport and not have it on your sheet if you don't need it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up what's called a table, and this table will serve as essentially our drawing list. It's the command table. Okay, or what you can do is under annotate, you'll notice that there's actually a table ribbon and an icon that I can press and come up with this dialog in order to insert the table. Now, what's nice about Autocad is that it really takes a lot of its cues from other programs, such as Excel with the spreadsheets, so that it's pretty user-friendly. Okay, so what happens is when I either click on table, okay, or type in the command table, what pops up is my dialog to insert my table. So now up the top, you'll see that there's a table style. There's a standard table style. Some people might have custom table styles that they incorporate into, using the program. You'll see that for this example, what we're doing is we're starting from an empty table. Okay, this shows you the preview, this shows you the columns, the rows, so on and so forth. So if you hit OK, what it does is it attaches that table to your mouse, okay? And if you click to insert it, what it does is it automatically makes active the top cells. Basically, it's basically a title cell. You'll see that even though these are separate separate cells below, this is all one cell. Okay, and basically what it allows me to do is it allows me to type in my title for this table. Okay, I can either hit enter, okay, or I can click out of it. Okay, if you click out of it once, if I click into it again, I can select the cells and I can start to add information. Okay, I can also use my arrows in order to move my cursor and to highlight certain cells. So for example, if I look to my drawing list, what this does is it serves as an index to name the drawing number. Okay, so I'm going to type in drawing number, and I'm going to use my over arrow key, okay, my right arrow key to move myself a cell over, and I'm going to say, drawing name. Okay, because typically what happens is that we list our drawing number and then we list our drawing name and what it is. So really in this example we only need a couple cells. You'll notice that I'm also running out of room. So again, if I click on my table to activate the row, if I click on the number it activates the row, if I click on the letter it activates the column. Okay, what it does is you'll see that there are options up here that'll start to highlight when I click on those different selections. Okay, and you'll see that when I do that, if I'm able to, it'll allow me to insert rows and allow me to insert columns, and I can also merge cells too as well. So for example, if I know that my drawing name is going to be pretty long, I can select, okay, and just using my selection technique, okay, by clicking and dragging the few cells that I want to merge, I can select those and I can click on merge cells, and I can merge these into one giant cell. Okay, so for example, drawing number, as I said before, I'm running out of room, so what I want to do is I want to start to insert my cells below. So what this does is it shows you that even after you create this table, okay, you can always edit it and you can always add on to it. So I'm going to select that cell and I'm going to go up to the top and I'm going to say insert row below, and you'll see that now my drawing list, okay, is going to expand. So drawing number, I can say A0, okay, move over to the cell, and I can say drawing name, let's say cover sheet. Oops, that is not how that is spelled. Okay, now if ever I need to edit any of the text inside of that, I can select it, and I can start to edit it the way that I would edit any other of my information. Okay, in any other program. So again, it works like Excel in that I would double click, in the file to activate it, select the text, okay, and then you can change it as you would the text as we did before for the title block. You'll see that you have your text styles, you have your fonts that are set up for you, and you also have your paragraph. So what I did is I justified it to my top left, or you can say middle left, okay, in order to align it that way. Rather than having it centered as what it was before. And again, I can start to fill this in like that. So it's really not that complicated of a tool. It's pretty easy to use. But what I find is that it tends to get really, really bogged down, okay, and it gets really slow. So it's actually not my preferred way of adding this information. Now, the way that I work is I actually insert what's called a data link, okay, and this is an example of how AutoCAD has become very sophisticated in coordinating itself with external programs such as Excel. So what I can do is I can actually do this same exercise in Excel, and I can link it to a table in AutoCAD. So to do that, I'm going to delete this. Now, if you do choose this type of method, and you can choose either this or the data link method for the homework, just make sure that this is on a title block text layer, okay? It shouldn't be, technically it shouldn't be on layer 0. We've already gone through what should be on layer 0, okay? And so what I did is I actually assigned it to the same layer that my text from my title block is on. Okay, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this because I'm going to go through the data link example, and the data link example is a little bit more complicated. So to begin with, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Excel. Okay, just Microsoft Excel, and I'm going to start to work with Excel. And the reason why I like to do this is that basically if you're working with schedules, so a lot of times what you're going to be doing is in addition to your drawing list, you're going to be using schedules for appliances, you're going to be using schedules for finishes, you're going to be using a lot of schedules. And that's why I find this method to be the preferred method for that, because what I can do is I can actually work with Excel, which is a little bit more friendly for this example. Okay, I can do calculations, I can do sums, I can do all that essentially in one fell swoop. I can create a formula, select all my files, and have it update that formula. AutoCAD can't do that. It can do sums, it can format the cells the way that Excel can, also does, but it's not as easy to use, okay, because it's close, but it's no cigar to Excel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to type in drawing list. You can also say drawing index, okay. There are a couple ways that people term this. And I'm going to say drawing number and drawing. Again, my misspelling. Drawing name. Okay, and I'm going to start with A0, we'll say cover sheet, A1, original plan, okay, and that's as far as I'm going to go for this example. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a save as, and I'm going to save my Excel spreadsheet where I can find it, okay, so I'm going to save it in, let's see, the folder where I can find it, and let's name it drawing list. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to close out of Excel, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up the data link. So the command for that is data link, one word. Okay, and what this does is it actually sets up, okay, this is the dialog to set up a link between the Excel spreadsheet and the data, the table, okay, that essentially it's going to be turned into when we go to the second part of this process. Okay, so this is the first part, and that's setting up the link itself. So I'm going to go to create a new Excel data link, and I'm going to name this drawing list. Now, this is just a name just so that you can remember what it is. It doesn't connect to the name of your file. Okay, that's not going to screw it up. It's really just something that you could, you name yourself in order to recognize it. With all the schedules that we work with, it's easy to kind of get lost in them. So, you should name it something that makes sense, like drawing list. As I said, you could name it roses and lollipops, okay, doesn't matter. Basically, this is, again, just something to let us know what this is when we have to go find it later on. So I'm going to hit OK. And what it's going to do is it's going to ask me where this Excel spreadsheet is. So I'm going to browse for the file. I'm going to go into my folder where I saved it. And what it's going to do is it's going to now load in the information from it. And what it's going to do is give me a preview based on, you know, the area that I essentially have information in. Okay, it's going to link to the entire sheet. You can link it to layout tabs on Excel spreadsheets, and what you can also do is you can link to a range. So if you don't want to show your whole Excel spreadsheet, you can actually define a specific range for it to point to, okay, and to show up. So once this is done, I'm going to hit OK. It's going to kick me back into this dialog, and I'm going to hit OK again. And now what I need to do is you'll see that there's nothing that popped up. Okay, and that's fine. That just basically means that what we've done is we've created the link to get that information from our Excel spreadsheet. Now what I need to do is I need to actually translate that information into a table. So again, if I go to my annotate menu and I go to my table button, I can click it there, or I can type in table to get that table dialog back, my insert table dialog back. And rather than setting it up like we did before, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, under insert options, I'm going to click on from a data link. Okay, and what this does is now when I expand this list, you'll see all of the data links that we've essentially connected our file to through the data link manager. So you'll see that now what pops up is my drawing list, and I'm going to click on that, and that will show up in the preview. All of this grays out because essentially we can't do anything to it after the fact because it's recognizing this information. So there's really no need to have this information here editable. So I'm going to hit OK, and you'll see that now what it has done is it has actually inserted an AutoCAD table using the information from the Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so what I can do is I can actually edit this table and update my Excel spreadsheet from that, or I can update my Excel spreadsheet, and from there the table will edit. Okay, before we get into that, what I want to show you is that when I type in XREF, it does show up as an XREF. Okay, even though it's a data link, it will show up in this list. So just so you know, that's what that means. And the only way to get rid of it, okay, from your file is to actually go into your data link manager again. So if you type in data link, if you right click on the name of the file, okay, and go into delete, that's the only way that you can delete it from the file. Okay, otherwise it stays in. Even if you delete it and it doesn't show up, it'll still show up in the file.